Hey, what is up everybody, Charisma here, and today we are taking a look at Driftwood, a visual novel. Well, I haven't played too many visual novel games. If you have, let me know in the comments below. I would really like to hear you out. And if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. And if you like what you see, make sure to hit the like button. And with all that being said, let's just start a new game. Today is a good day. The sound of children frolicking about and adults conversing fills the air, mixing with the aroma of budding flowers and recently cut grass. The sun is radiating warm light onto the grassy hilled park area, and a soft rolling breeze inspires the fields of green to sway and dance rhythmically. Groups of people sit around wooden tables and talk among themselves, while others lie and unwind on blankets, letting the stress of their lives leave them for a short time. It's a perfect place to play soccer or football, or take a cat nap. Or, like me, you could be waiting to meet with a special someone. I've been prepping for this day for what seems like weeks. Waiting, thinking, contemplating, wondering how I should greet her, what the first thing we talk about will be. I've even formed a list of questions to ask if the conversation lags. Although I know no matter how hard I memorize the questions, I'll forget the moment we begin to speak. She has that effect on me. The concept of love is gut-wrenching if you really think about it, especially for someone my age. I've never had a girlfriend, and I'm going to be a senior in high school next year. Ooh. I know, sad, right? This feels like my last chance to have a relationship before being swept off into the real world. A small buzz from the phone in my pocket catches me slightly off guard, having been overthinking the whole situation again. I pull the phone out, shading it with my palm as I look down to read the text message. Mom, have a good day, sweetie. I hope you have a great time. Like, my mom is saying that? Really? My mother can be such a pain sometimes, always checking up on me and making sure everything is going well. Overprotective is an understatement. Overprotective? Like, she's wishing me the best of luck while I'm on a date. Like, ask my mom. She'd say, come back, I'm ready with, my broomstick. I'm gonna swipe your head away. Overprotective? Really? I sigh, deciding not to answer. Instead, I flicked through my history of messages, rediscovering the text from the night before. Michaela, tomorrow at 2 p.m. near the State House. I glanced towards the time on my phone, but the sound of my name coming from a familiar voice makes me freeze. There she is. Michaela. Marcus? My heart thumps a little faster, and I turn as smoothly as possible. Michaela stands a few feet in front of me, blue eyes meeting my own gaze as we stare at one another clumsily. It takes me a few moments to realize I need to say something, and by then, my cheeks are already a heated red. Hey, how are you? My voice cracks at the very end of my sentence, and I feel like I've just been prodded with a hot iron. Namaste. For Christ's sake, pull it together. Michaela doesn't seem to mind my voice creaking towards a high pitch. Instead, she smiles at my embarrassment. I'm doing alright, you? I'm feeling pretty good. She offers me a small smile and looks around, admiring the park's atmosphere before taking a deep, relaxed breath. Michaela, so where did you want to go first? I tilt my head slightly to the side and scratch the back of my neck as I try to remember where in all hell I had planned for us to go first. I spitball the first thing that comes to my mind, which was an ice cream cart I'd passed a few minutes prior. I was thinking maybe we could go grab lunch and get ice cream from somewhere nearby, maybe in either order. That sounds good to me. I nod, slightly relieved that she seemed to agree with me. I retrace my steps from earlier, now accompanied by Michaela. Michaela, the only girl who's ever showed any interest in me aside from asking for help with homework. And here we are, on a date, getting ice cream. It sounds lame, but I can't help but smile to myself in disbelief. We ordered 2 cones, one chocolate and the other vanilla. I've always despised chocolate ice cream. I have no idea why, because I'll eat chocolate bars or candies without any repugnance. But the moment it becomes a cold, melting solid, it makes my mouth taste sour just thinking about it. Ick. I keep my opinions to myself though. She's welcome to enjoy what she likes as long as she doesn't make me taste it. After a moment of silence, Michaela turns to me with a puzzled expression. So how come you never told me you liked me before? The question is a little blunt, but I'm forced to answer. I've known Michaela since freshman year and we've always been friends, hanging out and doing stuff with our friend group and such. But over the past few months, I started to develop feelings for her. I was just nervous, I guess. I don't like the thought of being rejected. Well, I mean, who does? True, but what made you think I'd reject you? Poor self-esteem, I guess. I've never really gotten anywhere with talking to girls. That's silly. It's just like talking to someone else, talking to anyone else. We talk all the time. Doesn't really feel that way, but I know what you're saying. Michaela slightly distantly shakes her head. I think you're too down on yourself. You're not bad looking and you've always seemed like a nice guy. She paused and smiles up at me, reaching over to delicately loop her free arm around my own, pulling me to her side. Besides, I said yes, didn't I? Isn't that enough proof that you have a chance with girls? Well, Michaela, I just want to warn one girl, alright? I wouldn't go on a date with you if I didn't actually think you were a cool guy. I nod nervously. The feeling of Michaela's body pressing gently into me is more than enough to reassure me in my doubts, at least on the inside. Why is she always doing this namaste stuff? Anyway, if you say so. I coughed to clear my throat and looked towards Michaela with a still uncertain look. So, want to grab lunch uptown? Michaela, unfazed by my uncertainty, simply tightens her arm around my, smiling. Sure. I didn't get a chance to get breakfast today, so I'm pretty hungry. We step out of the green fields of the park and into the hustle and bustle of the busy city streets, which are congested with people walking, biking, and driving. We wait at a crosswalk, licking at our ice creams and watching humanity go by person, each living his or her own intricate lives, separate from everyone else's, yet ultimately connected. And here I am, standing on the side of the street with the girl of my dreams. Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but I do really like Michaela. I was so worried about actually trying to make this work, but in reality everything is going stupendously, at least for a first date. The crosswalk signal flashes white and we cross the street and turn, making our way down the sidewalk towards a section of Boston we both know has lots of good restaurants. We finish our ice cream and cut down a side street of the main road to shave a few minutes of the walk. I think that would be safe. We could even beat the lunch rush hour if we hurry. So, what you feeling like for lunch? I'd say we have a little time before everyone is out grabbing food. Nothing too crazy, maybe just... Her voice is cut off by the nearly ear-rupturing sounds of gunshot in the building ahead of us. 4 repetitive pops that makes my body cringe. Michaela's body has the same reaction as she falls silent, eyes wide and terror and curiosity. The street is eerily hushed for the next few moments, making my skin tingle and shiver with suspense. A group of 3 men step out from the building and onto the cement blocks of the sidewalk with a hurried pace. These men are wearing ski masks and body armor strapped across the chests and legs. 2 of them carry briefcases and dive into the car parked parallel to the building. The last figure, also wearing a mask, bolts out of the building and pauses halfway from the entrance to the vehicle. He glances up the sidewalk and then in the other direction where his eyes meet ours. He immediately yells something out in a foreign language I can't understand, to which the man in the car responds. Then the masked man In the masked man's right hand is a pistol. In the left is a briefcase. What looks like a crinkled dollar bills are caught between the leather frame of the case. I swing in front of Michaela, arms extended to protect the person who means the most to me. I'd never be able to forgive myself if anything was happening to her. A bank robbery? Those still happen? All goes silent for what seems an eternity. The foreign-speaking man and I share a long gaze, watching each other's movements, each small action carefully observed. Each breath I take infects my body with an unbearable amount of stress. Sweat trickles down my neck as my extremities grow numb. My body is stiff, motionless, aside from my breathing pulsing with adrenaline heavy as lead and pumping through my veins like thick syrup. Marcus. Michaela, run! I mutter under my breath for Michaela to run. She only responds with a whimper. But before I can say anything more, the sound of police sirens can be heard approaching. In response, the man raises his hand, pointed the barrel of the gun towards our heads. Marcus, tell him to stop. The man's finger tightens around the trigger of the gun. He's decided to kill us. Get down! The sight of the first bullet flying by my head is quickly interrupted by the tingling sensation of pain drilling through my left shoulder. My body jerks back and I am forced to lean into Michaela for support as I feel my whole world crumble around me. The echo that rings through my ears from the two bullets being fired reverberates after the round has already punctured my body. It takes a long while for the sound to dissipate, but once it does, silence settles in and my sight fades to black and gray hues, my breathing is unsteady and shaken. The silence amplifies the pain surging through my body. I feel like screaming, crying for help, making some kind of noise. But nothing comes out. I can hardly even breathe. I can't do anything. Is this what it feels like to die? The masked man who shot me turns on his heels and runs to the car at the side of the road. Slowly but surely, my knees buckle and I feel the weight of my body squeezing down through the joints of my legs against the sidewalk. I collapse. My gaze rolls upwards with the last ounce of strength in my body to see Michaela trying to hold me up, a horrified look on her face, tears streaming down her ashen cheeks. Her mouth is moving, probably screaming for help, maybe telling me I'll be okay or begging for me to say something. Yet I can't hear a thing. My strength is dissipating, my body feels numb, my eyes slowly drift closed as I see black tendrils wavering in my limited vision. My neck goes limp and I manage to catch a glimpse of the blood-coated sidewalk and street once more. The last thing I see in the car full of the men driving away escaped the scene of the crime, leaving me to die. My vision is filled with an empty expanse which seemingly goes on forever. Is this heaven? It can't be. I open my eyes as wide as I can, only to be forced to squint against the brightness of the blaring light which shocks my pupils into shrinking. I blink a few times, trying to recover more of my sight from the wide field ahead of me. Images begin to come into view, walls, paintings, furniture, and the bed beneath me. As I process what I'm seeing, my hearing returns to me, and I can make out the sound of people speaking. I follow the sound with my eyes. A television sits on a table across the room. It's tuned to a news channel. TV reporter. The fourth shooting this month, leaving 3 dead and 2 injured. Officials suspect that these attacks are linked with local gangs associated with the Mexican drug cartel. We'll update the story when we'll speak with the next gang member and his take on the recent events after a short break. Where the hell am I? I lean forward, motivated to explore my new surroundings, and I am greeted with a sharp ping that brings a seething pain across my chest, forcing me fully into consciousness. Whining out in agony gains the attention of a man in a turquoise gown I hadn't noticed until now. He's standing beside my bed, pressing me back down into the mattress. At first I feel threatened and try to break away, but then my sense of smell finally kicks in. The man is wearing latex gloves, The smell of the gloves mixes with the scent of sterile antiseptic wafting about the room. It's unnatural. Based on the man's appearance, the bright lighting, and the bed, I'm in a hospital. And I'm alive. I'm alive? I think aloud, staring forward at nothing in particular as I unclog the gears of my mind. The man nods, settling me back down to the hospital bed. Yes, you're alive. I'm alive. This is reality. So that means Michaela. I quickly dart my eyes upwards towards the man, struggling to keep my words up to speed with my thoughts. What about Michaela? Is she alright? Who? I gag out the thought of Michaela being dead because of me, and I raise my voice to a panicked yell. Michaela. Blonde hair, blue eyes. She has to be alive. The doctor leans back in a nearby chair, a quizzical look coming over his scruffy chin face. I think I saw her visiting yesterday. She has a soft voice, very gentle. Come on, she has to have that. Come on, stupid questions. I let out a sigh of relief, my body collapsing back into my bedding. My sacrifice wasn't in vain then. Yeah, that's her. You're lucky, you know. Of course I am. The doctor chuckles as he scans over a few pages in my patient chart. I look to him curiously, unsure as how I lived through the encounter. I could care less how lucky I am. I'm overjoyed to just know I'm still breathing and that Michaela isn't hurt. He shows me a small diagram of the human body, a circle drawn on the top of the left shoulder. You cheated death, Marcus Feick. Isn't that we always do every time we're alive? Whatever. I glance at him with a slightly unbelieving expression. He offers a smug grin at my cynicism, tapping his pen against his lower lip. The bullet missed your ribcage, lungs, clavicle, and spine by a few millimeters. I'm forced to look back down at the paperwork in disbelief before I instinctively try to take a look at my left shoulder, only to be met with the same sensation of pain from earlier. Ow! The doctor sits up, quickly settling my head back down in a comfortable position onto the pillow of the hospital bed. Hesitantly, I kick my legs up, even if the movement itself is agonizingly painful. I feel a sense of relief run over me again, relaxing me. I'm not paralyzed either. I made the effort to test out my right arm, giving it a slow roll and lifting it slightly before it flops back down over at my side. Just doing that was exhausting, but at least I still have control of my body. You managed to only receive a bit of muscle tissue damage, so you're not going to be able to do much for the next few weeks. Until then, rest. You'll need it, for when your mother shows up again, she was hysterical when she first visited. The doctor provided a friendly smirk that can only be returned with my weak smile. Mom. She must have had a mental breakdown when she learned what happened to me. I give the doctor a small nod, peering back down at the diagram once more before he takes it away, stuffing it under his arm. Thank you. It's the most I can say before I feel my head slumping back against the cushion of my bedding in fatigue. I close my eyes, letting myself drift back into unconsciousness. I guess I really did cheat death. The next morning, I wake to the sight of Michaela sitting at the side of my bed with a troubled look upon her face, staring down at my injured shoulder intently. I blink a few times, letting the drowsiness of my slumber fade away before I offer as chipper and sarcastic of a good morning as I can to the girl in the hopes of cheering her up. Good morning. How long have you been watching me asleep? Michaela, startled by my voice, redirects her attention from my shoulder to lock eyes with mine. Marcus, you're okay. Michaela reaches up to grasp a hold of my hand, nimbly curling her fingers between mine with such ease it makes me feel like they were meant to hold onto each other. Of course, my whole body grows tense and I feel a bit warmer from the nervousness and embarrassment of holding her hand. Yeah, I'm fine. The doctor said it was just a little muscle damage or something. I'm really glad you're okay though. I offer an overjoyed smile happy that I was able to shield Michaela from the villainous bank robbers, even if it meant I had to stick around in the hospital bed for a few weeks. Why does she keep on doing this namaste bit? Anyway, Michaela's face contorts into a teary-eyed, nearly pained smile. I was so worried about you, Marcus. Michaela takes a deep breath, recomposing her gentle-souled self, and gives my hand a firm squeeze. How are you feeling? Good. I'm sure that I'll be out of here in no time. Michaela grins happily at my enthusiasm and nods. Well, once you are, I'll have to pay you back for that ice cream. Oh? Being one of the most expensive and fancy restaurants in Boston, I chuckled, giving her a stern look. I just skipped that part for no reason. That was his expensive restaurant name. I don't think an ice cream is equivalent to 3-course meal, Michaela. She simply giggles, which brings a smile to my face. Well, we can split the bill if you insist then. Alright, that sounds a little more fair. We just share a small airy laugh before Michaela's bag lets out a small beep, signaling she had a text message. Naturally, she reaches to it, reading it over for a moment before a confused and rather annoyed look comes upon her face. Something wrong? Michaela pouts. Pouts? Leaning away from the hospital bed and giving my hand one last squeeze before letting go. My parents want me home right away for something. Oh well, don't let me hang you up. I'll be here when you manage to get back. I smile reassuringly as Michaela stands up. Speaking of parents, want me to call yours and tell them you're awake? Yeah, that'd be nice. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow after school, alright? Alright, see you then. As Michaela leaves the room, I glance down at the palm of the hand she was holding and notice that it's balmy as all hell, and that my face feels burning hot. I was extremely nervous through all of that, but somehow managed to pull it off. I mean, Michaela and I have been friends since 9th grade, but not like this. I think regardless of me being stuck in this hospital bed for the next 2 weeks, I'm happy with the fact that I'm still alive and Michaela is safe. I rest my head back down and stare up at the white lights along the ceiling, reviewing everything that occurred over the past few days. Asking Michaela out, the date, getting shot, the doctor, holding Michaela's hand like that. It's all quite life-changing and, well, exciting. Within maybe 10 minutes of Michaela's leaving, my room's door crashes open and my mother hurls herself at me like a rag doll, nearly crushing my already damaged shoulder in the process. My baby! My baby! I spot my father over my mother's shoulder, even with her smothering into me like I'm a stuffed animal. Ow! It's good to see you too. After about 5 minutes of my mother crying and squeezing me to death, she finally pulls away enough for me to speak without being muffled. I'm fine. Didn't the doctors tell you that? Well, you know how your mother always overreacts. My dad smiles at my mother, teasing her, which she ignores. Honey, is there anything we can do for you? Can we get you anything? I shake my head, feeling pretty content with the surroundings of my comfy hospital room. I'm alright, just a little hungry. Sorry to put you guys through so much worry. The two of them smile weakly at my apology. You had me worried to death, but we're glad you're doing okay. She glances over to my dad for a moment and they share a questioning look as if they are silently debating something. Eventually she turns back to me and places a hand on my leg as if to comfort me. Anyway, we have exciting news. News? It's going to be a bit of a change, that's for sure. Huh? Remember when you were complaining about how crappy your school was? Yeah. I tilt my head at least until I feel the jolt of my pain that makes me bend it back properly once again. Well, we've decided that it's in our best interest to transfer you to a new school. What? Like really, what? Like I was just getting settled. I got a girl, I went out on a date, and now after all these things you want to change my school. Great. Okay, what have you got to say? We plan to wait on telling you to surprise you in the summer. But we figured now would be the best time to hopefully cheer you up. You're going to be a boarding school. Isn't that great, honey? Boarding school? Really? I look at my father with a puzzled expression. Is this some kind of joke or something? No, sweetie, we are serious. And I'm dead. Besides your education, we think that it's very important that you stay safe. And obviously, the city is no longer safe if you're getting shot up on the street. In fact, we would move, but we are not financially in position to just up and leave. So why not the second best thing? That is send me away. Great. You're the best parents one could ever have. I give her a dull look. It was a freaking accident. The city is safe. There have been almost 6 shootings just this month, Marcus. I turn my attention back to my father, hoping he will at least back me up on this. Your mother is right, Marcus. As much as I know you don't like the change, we want the best for you. Of course you do, Father. And I have no say in the change. We know you will love the school once you get the time to check it out. Here, you can even check the website on my phone, okay? How can I judge a school based on its website? Well, it is true for my college, but okay, whatever. She leans forward, nearly pushing the phone into my face, emphasizing the point that a decision has already been made. I growl lowly at both of them and take the phone, frustrated immensely by this. I just blankly stare at the screen, not actually reading any of the text due to my revulsion of the entire subject. A school transfer. Because my mom is worried that I'm going to be a victim of another incident if I stay in the city? Boston has always been a safe city, at least for the most part, and now just because of one incident, my mother decides it's best for me to switch schools? To a boarding school, no less, which means I won't be home for most of the year, only on holidays. There isn't any reason why I can't just stay in the city and continue going on with my life, dating Michaela, graduating next year, possibly finding a job for this summer. The concept of changing my life is repulsive. I finally feel like I've gotten a solid foothold on the direction I'm heading in, and they want to change that? But my parents don't budge on the argument, so I decided to change the subject just to keep myself from getting too frustrated. They don't leave the hospital or my side until I've drifted off to sleep for the night. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you liked what you saw, and if you did, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe for more content like this, and if you want me to do a part 2 of the series, part 2 of this game, where I show what happens next, what happens to his date, what happens to this guy, just let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, keep gaming, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.